If you're in the accounting world, you know the feeling, that annual tax season grind. But what if there was a way to not just survive it, but to actually turn it into a strategic advantage? Well, today, we're going to break down a modern strategy that is completely changing the game for CPA firms. Let's dive right in. It's a familiar story, right? As soon as the new year hits, bam, the workload just skyrockets. Those deadlines start looming and the pressure builds and builds. It's a cycle that can lead to some serious team burnout and strain your firm's operations to the absolute breaking point. So here's our game plan for this explainer. First, we'll talk about the tax season overload. Then, we'll get into a smarter way to work. After that, we'll cover the big strategic advantages. We'll also look at how it all works in practice. And finally, we'll go over getting started and what comes next.
Okay, first up, let's really set the scene with a problem that I think every single CPA firm is going to recognize: the annual overload.
Here's the funny thing about success. The more your firm grows, the more intense that operational pressure gets. So the million-dollar question is, how do you manage all that growth without sacrificing quality or just completely overwhelming your team? That is the question leading firms are asking themselves right now. So, now that we've all agreed on the problem, let's talk about the good stuff, the solution. It's time to explore a totally new model for handling that capacity crunch and really streamlining your workflow. And that solution is offshore tax preparation. Now, put simply, it's all about partnering with a trained, professional team located outside the US to handle the technical prep work. This lets you basically, instantly expand your firm's capacity without all the overhead of hiring more internal staff. Now, this is where it gets really cool. This slide does a great job of showing the new workflow. It's a really clear division of labor. Your firm over on the left, you keep complete control over the most valuable client-facing work. The relationships, the strategy, and of course the final review and approval. Meanwhile, your offshore team on the right, they become your powerhouse, your engine room, expertly handling all that detailed data entry and prep work that usually bogs your team down. So you might be wondering, why is this model getting so much traction all of a sudden? Let's get into the specific strategic advantages that are making the top firms really take notice. Okay, first and foremost, it's about managing that insane volume. Just imagine being able to take on, say, 20% more clients during tax season without burning out your team. That's the power you get when you can distribute the work across a much larger, combined team. You hit every deadline without all that usual peaks and stress. Second, it's just a massive boost to your efficiency. By outsourcing the super time-consuming prep work, you get rid of the common bottlenecks that slow everything down. This frees up your in-house experts to focus on what they do best, talking with clients and giving high-level strategic advice, which, let's be honest, is where the real value is. And this just brilliantly illustrates the financial side of things. Scaling your team the old-fashioned way means absorbing huge recruitment costs, training, and long-term salary commitments. This model gives you access to skilled pros on demand, letting you scale up for tax season and then scale right back down. It's incredibly cost-effective and flexible. And finally, you're not just getting extra hands here. You are getting a team of seasoned experts. You're tapping into a global talent pool of professionals who live and breathe U.S. tax law. They're already pros in the software you use, and they're totally up to date on the latest compliance rules. It's kind of like having a team of tax ninjas on your side, ready to go. Okay, so it sounds great in theory, but how does it actually work in the real world? Let's pull back the curtain and look at the mechanics, the tasks, the tech, and of course, the all-important security. Just look at this list. The range of tasks you can delegate is pretty broad. We're talking individual returns, corporate filings, partnership returns, all that data entry and work paper prep. Imagine your team spending less time on that stuff and more time on strategic planning with your best clients. It's a total game changer. A decade ago, this might have been clunky, but today's technology makes it absolutely seamless. We're talking secure, cloud-based platforms and encrypted file transfers that make collaborating with a team across the globe feel just as easy as working with someone in the next office over. Of course, I know what you're thinking. With client data, security is completely non-negotiable, and any reputable provider makes it their absolute top priority. We're talking secure data transfer, encrypted storage, and super tightly controlled access to all financial data. Plus, multi-layer reviews to make sure both confidentiality and accuracy are just top-notch. All right, let's bring it all home. Let's move to the final section, making this a reality for your firm. We'll look at the path to getting it implemented and the benefits that go way beyond just tax season. The best part is that getting started is a totally manageable step-by-step process. You don't have to flip a switch overnight. First, you just document your workflow to create a standard. Then you start small, maybe with some simpler returns to build a rhythm. Crucially, as you can see in step 3, your firm always maintains that final internal review. And finally, you set up clear communication channels. It's a smart, controlled rollout designed for success. And listen, the rewards are not just for tax season. Year-round, firms see way faster turnaround times, less burnout, and a much greater capacity to take on new clients. But maybe most importantly, it frees you up to focus on those higher-margin advisory services, which really transforms your business from just a reactive tax preparer to a proactive, strategic partner. This quote really just sums it all up, doesn't it? The entire industry is evolving at lightning speed. The firms that embrace new, more efficient operating models like this one, they aren't just keeping up, they're creating a massive competitive advantage for themselves. So that brings us to the final and I think most crucial question you should be asking yourself. Is your firm stuck in a reactive cycle, just trying to survive each and every tax season? Or are you proactively building a more scalable, a more efficient, and a more strategic firm for the future? The choice and the opportunity is all yours.